You're watching the Sporting Time Show with host Doug Thompson. Sponsored by Jewelry Barn and Pawn Shop. For the athletes, for the game.
Welcome into the Sporting Time Show. I am Doug Thompson.
And I'm Joe Brunk.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You got to give them three welcomes. First of all, it is Saturday night.
Rule of threes, Doug.
Rule of threes. And the other thing is, we are sorry we missed you last week, but Notre Dame, they take precedent. They ran long.
Yep.
And we got benched.
I mean, look it. When you got the Fighting Irish coming through,
That's
there's not much we're going to be able to do about Notre Dame.
No, and
let's just put it that way.
And I was cheering them on.
Yeah.
I was cheering them on. So sorry we missed you, but we're here now, and welcome into the show. Joe, we've got a lot to get to tonight. First of all, it is beginning to look a lot like
Christmas?
There we go. Very good.
I mean,
that was excellent. Well, it's Thanksgiving is in the rearview mirror.
It is.
And
now it's perfectly acceptable to be playing Christmas music on your radio.
Oh, yes. Do you play Christmas music?
It's perfectly good to watch all the holiday movies.
Do you like that? Do you partake?
I do a little.
Yeah,
I think I wait a little bit on like jamming to the Christmas music till like maybe a couple of weeks before instead of the whole month of December.
Yeah.
But I still like it from time to time.
Yeah, but I mean, we're just a couple weeks away from Christmas. I am playing a lot of Christmas music, and I also sing to a lot of Christmas music. Which
you were singing here in the studio a little.
Yeah, it was.
It's a shame the cameras weren't rolling.
It is. Well, it is a shame or a blessing. But anyway, it is that time of year. Besides Christmas, that we're beginning to get college signings, and we want to go over just a few that has happened, and we want to congratulate, of course, Olivia Price out of Warren East High School, a softball player.
Yep.
She has signed with Eastern Illinois University, and Joe, she's a great softball player, and we get to see her again.
Yeah, absolutely, and that Warren East team, one thing that they did so well here in the past few years. They have hot bats, man.
Yep.
And they can keep on getting hit after hit after hit. Olivia Price is one of the tops in that for this team. She really sets the tone in that way. And to see her do another season is going to be a lot of fun to see what this team's going to crank out.
Yeah, and a lot of her teammates will be signing and committing here in the next few weeks as well. So we'll bring that to you. Now, another young lady, Taylor Enlow from South Warren High School, has signed with Asbury University.
Yeah,
and
it's a good school.
I understand that it may have been one of your picks.
It was in the final two.
Is that right?
It was between Western and Asbury. Both have really good broadcasting programs.
Yeah.
Probably the two best in the state. And so it came down to those two. And, well, I ended up here at Western. So,
you never know what you're going to find out on this show. That would be a great trivia question down the road.
Yeah.
Who are Joe's final two picks?
All
right.
I'm sure people are really going to keep that in mind. Store it in their memory banks.
Well, I might. I will. I might bring that out. How about Lance Upright from Greenwood High School, baseball player? I've had the opportunity to interview him many times. He will be on this show. He's a great interview, great young man. He signs with WKU to play a little baseball.
There we go.
And he's a catcher. Tough position.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
I can't do it now because I could never get up. I can get down.
Like your knees are done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
So I'd be good for one pitch, and
people
then
be stealing.
Get the hook
all day.
Give me all day.
People
Yeah,
be stealing
absolutely.
all day.
So congratulations to Lance Upright on signing with WKU, and then Bree Croslin, a Logan County, I'm gonna say superstar in softball. She can smack that ball around, usually over the fence. She signs with Murray State University.
There we go.
So
might have the chance if she could get a little farther in the state tournament, because I believe the semi-state this year is over at Murray.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it splits between Western and Murray. So
Yeah.
last year it was at Western. I think this year it heads to Murray. So I think they have that chance.
Well,
I mean, they got to go through Warren East to do it, which ain't going to be easy. In South Warren
this year, they're loaded.
Yeah,
they're loaded. So we'll have to see what happens. But Joe, congratulations to those student athletes, and we have more coming, and we will keep you posted on them. We got the round ball. We're going to put a big bow around football.
Yep.
It is over. You know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
Ended 1 week sooner than what we're used to.
I know.
We're used to having at least one team from around here in that state championship, and somehow this year just didn't Didn't work out for us.
It did not work out, but the last team standing was the color purple, and that was the Bowling Green Purples.
Yeah.
Really maybe exceeded many folks' expectations from the beginning of the year. They end up 9-4, Joe. You broadcast all their games. You know better than anybody. But they did find lightning in a bottle, and they were able to do. They really had a great season.
Yeah, I think you came into this year, and I mean, you looked at their schedule. I mean, obviously there's St. X, there's Trinity, going to Corbin, going to McCracken County. South Warren obviously on the schedule because of district play.
Yeah.
You didn't know what you get out of Father Ryan as well. You went, okay, best case scenario, you're probably looking 9-1, probably. Yeah. Worst case scenario, this could be a 5-5, 4-6 team if things don't bounce right for you, right? I mean, there's some potholes in that schedule that you get tripped up on, and they tripped up in the first week against Father Ryan. And then they hit into this quarterback battle, which, I mean, it wasn't like a controversy or anything like that. It was just, we have two guys. We think we can use both guys. We're going to use both guys.
Right.
And it worked for a little bit. And then I think as the season went along, you found that maybe it's good to find one guy and keep that rhythm. Now, of course, Max Payne got hurt as well.
Yep.
That helped form that decision. He got hurt in the South Warren game.
Yeah.
But again, you look at what this turned out to be, 9-4. After losing to Father Ryan, the only other games they lost were to St. X and to Trinity, who both turned out pretty good this year.
Yeah, they did.
You know, like they're pretty good teams.
Yeah.
And Cubcath,
Trinity, amazing.
Yeah, I was like, Trinity, I mean, they very well could win 6A.
Right.
Cubcath's probably going to win 5A. You know, so you two of your losses are to state champs.
Right.
Not a bad season.
No.
But I think when you look back at this year, if you're a Bowling Green fan, you're going to look back and you're going to remember, okay, we got 2 wins against South Warren, and we made to the state semis.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good year.
It was a good year. They had a lot of underclassmen as well. One of the players in that team, Vito Tisdale, broke his wrist, broke his hand in the South Oldham game. But he comes back the next week, plays against Cubcath. Of course, it's all wrapped up, ready to go. Yeah. But Vito's headed to the All-American game, and congratulations to him. But we want to certainly congratulate all the teams this year. It was a phenomenal season. Glasgow had another great year. Franklin Simpson caught fire towards the end of the season. Logan County, they retire a couple guys that have been a big part of their team, Ezel and Hardy, since their sophomore year. Yeah. So anxious to see what happens next season, but it's time for the round ball.
Yeah, and with football, we had some really hot teams that we thought were going to go deep. Cut short by injury. Glasgow, injury really cost them in their game against Taylor County. Logan County, I mean, just injuries abound towards the end of the season, and that really stymied what they were able to do in the postseason. But a fun season all around. Just now we get to move on to this little baby right here.
Absolutely, and we are going to talk about the 15th district. We already highlighted the 14th district in the last show. It's all about the 15th district. Believe me, they are good again this year.
It's going to be competitive.
So, Joe, let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to hear from the coaches themselves and some of the players about their team this season. You're watching the Sporting Times on WNKY NBC 40. We'll be right back.
As far as engagement rings, or any ring for that matter, or any piece of jewelry, there's nothing that we probably cannot do. Every engagement ring imaginable is available here. We not only have in-stock pieces, but we also make custom-made jewelry. Anything that they are seeing in a mall-type setting, we can absolutely reproduce it if we don't already have it in stock. I will say we're very personable here. We try to make it very special for everybody.
Welcome back, Joe. I have feast on my mind because of Thanksgiving.
Well, yeah.
Feast.
That's the obvious way to go.
Yeah, it was very. I was just trying to get there, but anyway, let's talk a little 15th district basketball. In fact,
we gotta flip it out.
Wait, we got to change it out. Our prop. Where's our prop person at? We've lost Joe. There we go. Now we're back. There, we're gonna drop the football. Now we're official.
Real professional ship we're running here.
We got it. We got it here.
Yeah. Let's talk some 15th district basketball.
With Becca Greenwell's signature. Yeah. So anyway, 15th district basketball. We're going to start off with Monroe County. First-year head coach Ashley Gerald. he's been around a lot longer, but this is his first year at Monroe County. They graduate 2 seniors. They graduate their leading scorer, Clements, who led the team with averaging 25 points per game. The question, Joe, is
who's going to replace that scoring? And that's the thing that Monroe County kind of struggled with last year as well. It was like Clements was the guy.
Yeah.
Every time you talked about Monroe County, it was Clements. He was the star of the show for them. The question is, who's going to be that guy? Will it be scoring by committee? Will this be a more balanced team? Will whoever steps up into those roles be able to keep them in competition? Because this is a district that's going to be pretty competitive.
Yeah.
Right? You look at this region, the 14th obviously is the 14th, and we talked about that last week. But the 15th has been, for the past couple of years, kind of that district that, we talk a lot about because, well, there's a lot of competition out of it. And outside of the 14th, it seems to be that our better contenders,
they're the strongest,
in our region,
I think,
are coming out of the 15th. And I think that's the case this year too.
Yeah, well, let's hear from Coach Geralds about his take on his team this season.
Well, I did play this game. I wasn't the biggest player ever to walk on the floor, so I try to translate a little bit of that. I don't know if you want to call it attitude or whatever, but kind of the way that I play the game, that's kind of the way I try to coach the game as well. But just playing hard, outwork the person that's across from you. Every loose ball is your ball. Diving on the floor, do whatever it takes, to be successful. But I want this team to, play freely. I do think, I keep saying we're going to play it up and down the floor. I do think that's going to be one of our strengths. We are very athletic, even though a lot of these guys have never been on the floor when the lights come on, other than 4 of them. But at the end of the day, we got some kids that can play. It's just going to take some game experience for that to really start showing up.
Practices are very competitive. Transition from Coach DeWitt to Coach Girls, they do things a little bit different. Last year, that's all Coach DeWitt. Every practice, rebound. So, and this year it's the same way, but it's more he wants to push the ball, get up and down, give more shots up than other teams. So it's kind of a transition, but yeah, I feel like rebounding is definitely a key part of it.
I think when you're a smaller team like us, we won't have a lot of 6-foot guys. I think rebounding has to be a good part of your team. You got to be able to box out and get the rebounds. So I think us boxing out and getting rebounds is a big part of our game.
All right, thank you, Coach Geralds. Joe, he seems to be a no-nonsense kind of coach, right? Mm-hmm. Just very straightforward. And I think he's excited to be the captain of that ship and see what those players can do this year. But they're in a very competitive district, and when you look at competition, you got to look at Warren Cunningham and the Barron County Trojans because Coach Cunningham, arguably one of the best coaches, X's and O's that we're going to come across. Mm-hmm. He's just got a great basketball mind. He's been doing it for a long time. Mm-hmm. But Barron County, here's the thing about Barron County. They graduate 2 players from last year's team, but they're returning all 5 of their scores, their top scores. When you return 5 of your top scorers, Joe, I believe you can only play 5 guys at a time.
It's true. That's the max that you can have out on the court at one time. You got something right, Doug.
We are so on top of things at this show. That's right. They're kind of a wild card. They got beat in the 15th district against Glasgow last year in overtime. Yep. Glasgow goes on to win it and obviously go on to the 4th region tournament. Mm-hmm. But, let's hear from Coach Cunningham and see what he says about his squad this year.
I think the biggest thing is we have to be more consistent. I think we saw signs last year where we were, whether it be within a quarter or within a half, especially within a game, where we would be really good in stretches, and then we would not play as well in stretches. So I think that's the biggest thing to me is we have to, as a group, we have to be more consistent with the way that we play, whether that's handling the ball, finishing plays, rebounding. We just have to be, we did some things well, and we got a lot of those guys back, so we just have to be more consistent with the way that we do things.
Well, we have a really good fan base and a lot of people coming out to watch our games, and
everybody at school, they'll always, holler at you in the hallways, and it's there's a lot of pride when we put on a Barron County jersey. Coach emphasizes it a lot in practice, about being good teammates and having good sportsmanship. And the people that's played ahead of us, like Wade Coomer and Billy Jackson and Gavin Driver, I learned from them. They always played their hardest every single game, and that's carried down through the years. And we're going to try to keep that tradition going to our younger players too.
Very confident, Joe. He is. He's Coach Cunningham. I mean, he's used to it.
Yeah, he is. I'd say you talk in all the coaching circles around here, probably one of the highest regarded coaches in this area. The guy knows basketball, and he knows how to get the best out of his kids. Last year's team was kind of a younger team. Niken, who is kind of their big scorer, a kid that they really think is going to go on to become a big-time player for them here in the next few years. Super young. And so he was still getting his feet underneath him, his confidence going. I think an off season to work with him a little bit more, an off season of cohesion amongst these guys is certainly going to make this better than a 500 team that they were last year. This is certainly a team that can compete. The question is, who is going to run alongside with Niken to be a scorer? I like Bandy. Bandy's a nice kind of solid player. I don't know if he's like a super great scorer. He can. I like his just all-around effort. He's a good defender. He's a good rebounder. He does a little bit of everything decently well, and with an extra offseason to kind of improve and all of that stuff, he could be a guy that we talk about a lot as the season goes along. But I think Niken is kind of the focus when it comes to scoring there.
And that's what we like, I think, the most is the fact that who is going to be that next, not necessarily superstar, but that next player that you and I are going to be talking about, that we just don't know as the season approaches who that will be. But we're going to see. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we are going to review the top 2 teams from the 15th District from last season. Stay tuned. You're watching the Sporting Times on WNKY NBC 40.
As far as engagement rings, or any ring for that matter, or any piece of jewelry, there's nothing that we probably cannot do. Every engagement ring imaginable is available here. We not only have in-stock pieces, but we also make custom-made jewelry. Anything that they are seeing in a mall-type setting, we can absolutely reproduce it if we don't already have it in stock. I will say we're very personable here. We try to make it very special for everybody.
Welcome back. As previously noted, we are going to look at the top 2 teams from the 15th District last year, Allen County, Scottsville, and Glasgow. Let's start with Allen County, Scottsville. They lose their number 1 scorer.
Yeah, Brett Rippey was really good.
He was really, really good, but they bring back number 2 and 3, Mason Shirley, who is a young sophomore, but a just very crafty on the basketball court. And the epitome of a student athlete in Owen Stamper, a 3-sport athlete. He returns. He brings some height to Allen County. But Joe, here again is another team that I'm anxious to see who complements those 2 guys.
Yeah, well, Mason Shirley was the breakout player in the region last year. We knew what Bowling Green brought to the table. We knew Central and who their stars were going to be. There was no surprise in that. We knew who Greenwood's stars were going to be, right? All of these teams we knew. No one knew about Mason Shirley that he was going to do that last season. And he took an Allen County Scottsville team that no one talked about in the regular season, or at the beginning of the regular season last year, and immediately turned them into a regional contender just because he was able to come out and be so effective. They kind of fell off a little bit towards the end of the season, so let's see if they learn from that, what lessons they pick up from that, because they're very much in contention with this 15th District again. But as we said earlier, this is competitive. A ticket to Diddle is not a given out of the 15th District. You got to come ready to play.
Not this year. And I think, when we were watching Media Day and listening to Mason Shirley talk and kind of the smirks and the smiles that we got from the team, that, he even said that, he has grown and he appreciates things differently. And Coach Brad Bonds, another veteran coach that has been around, that knows how to play the game. And, so we got a bunch of super coaches in the 4th region. He's one of them. But let's listen to Coach Bonds and the guys from Media Day and see what they had to say.
Well, we lost a lot of players to last year's team, and a lot of defenders, some really good scorers, some great leadership. So the questions coming into this season are who's going to be able to step in and provide those leadership things, who's going to be that go-to defender, who's going to be that go-to offensive player. So as we start evaluating those things now, I've got 2 seniors to my left right here that I think the world of, and I'd go to war with them any day. And Owen plays multiple sports, and he's successful at everything that he does. And just knowing that he can step into that leadership role and do what a senior is supposed to do is very comforting to me. Charlie, obviously had a very key injury last year, was not able to be on the floor, but we have already in preseason seen some things that Charlie's going to be able to do for us. It's nothing but it's really going to help us as a basketball team. And when you have this guy over here to my right, he knows how to play. He knows how to make plays. Now he's very emotional, and he plays emotional on the floor, and sometimes that can be negative. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that he does that's really, really good for the game of basketball and for our team. And I'm going to tell you, this guy, I love what he does. I love how he plays for our team. And there's not anyone as competitive on the floor as he is and wants to win as much as he does. So these 3 gentlemen right here definitely gives us a great core for us being successful.
All right, we are back. Fun group. Mm-hmm. I think they're relaxed. I think whatever was going on last year internally is gone. We hope.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
And, this is Allen County Scottsville, at least last year, was, kind of a live by the 3, die by the 3 type of team. Are they going to be able to incorporate some other aspects of the offense into what they can do this year, or are they going to continue to be, well, if we're shooting hot, we can beat anybody? I mean, they beat Warren Central last year, right? That's the thing. They can go out and play with anybody in this region if they're making their shots. The question is, can they develop the other parts of the game that allows them to compete with the elites, even if the shots aren't falling?
Yeah,
that's the question.
That's the question. And of course, our last team to preview is the 15th district champion from last year, the Glasgow Scotties, who lost only 1 senior, Tayshawn Bradley, from last year's team, but he was the 4th leading scorer on that team. They bring back everybody else and 1. And who is that and 1?
Franklin is an athlete. They really missed him last year. They were expecting him to be a big part of their success last season. He got hurt, missed the whole year. Now he's back. He's a big presence for them moving forward. So now you bring back all those guys that were able to be successful last year. They won a lot of ball games without him last year. All those guys come back with that confidence. They've had an off season to kind of gel and get back together. Then you bring Franklin and his talent and his ability in with that team. I think at least as you come into the season, here in the preseason, I think Glasgow is kind of the phrase that I coined is the Great White Hope. Since like 1990, it's been the 14th district.
All the time.
Who is going to be that team from outside the 14th to be the threat? There's always one. Allen County Scottsville was kind of it last year.
Yep.
Glasgow was kind of in there as well in that conversation. Clinton County, we talked about a lot.
Last year had an opportunity.
With Harlan. This year, at least coming into the preseason, I think it's Glasgow. I think that's the team we're talking about.
And the reason why, Joe, is we've talked about this. You have to have depth. You can't just have 2 super players on a basketball team and come in and beat a 14th district. And I know that may sound harsh, but it's true. Yeah. It's you got to have that 3rd guy, or even better, 4 out of your 5 guys have to be producers. It's very tough otherwise. But this team, Glasgow Scotties, I think they're going to have a big bark this year and a big bite. And let's hear from the team during Media Day and see what they had to say.
Or not taking bad shots and helping the big man get some more rebounds.
In the off season, I got a lot stronger in the weight room, and trying to just become a more versatile player on the court instead of just being one-dimensional.
For me, I think it's just going in there and playing with contact more and just taking it off the dribble and finishing at the rim more often this year, and also helping my big guys with the rebounds this year.
All right, Joe. They seem focused, right? They seem, Franklin seemed very excited to be back.
Yeah.
And a player that's been out for a season because of injury, man, they are just chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
No, pun intended. But they are, they're ready to go. And I agree with you. I think that even though they beat Barron County last year in overtime, I think all those teams in the 15th district are in the conversation this year. I think Glasgow returning all those scores with Franklin, you got to give them the edge.
Yeah, and I think Glasgow knows this too. Like, I think that's what you saw from them in this media day. They know that they're in the hunt, that they're a team that we have to talk about and are very much going to be in the conversation as the season goes along. They know that. I think they're prepared for that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be to see how they respond to that because, again, like you said, yeah, they won the district. Yeah, they advanced to, I believe, the semifinals.
Right.
They fell to Warren Central in the semifinals, I believe. But they almost lost to Barron County in the first round of the district. Because I mean, the 15th, again, nothing is easy out of the 15th. The ticket to Diddle is not set in stone.
Yeah.
So you got to come ready to go. Every time you step into the 15th district, you got to come ready to play.
Yeah,
So, and Glasgow knows it.
And I agree with some of the coaches said the 4th region, one of the toughest basketball regions in the state, and I really believe that.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think you still can argue around like the Louisville regions, but once you step out of there, the 4th region is very good. And you've seen that with the success that you've seen from Bowling Green and Warren Central. Once they get to the Sweet 16, it's been a bit since they've been bounced in the first round. You've seen them make runs to the semifinals, to the championship game, to winning the whole thing a few years ago for Bowling Green. Like the 4th region, once they get there, they hang out for a bit once they get to Rupp.
You don't want to draw the 4th region because you know what they went through to get there. It's not easy. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up right here on the Sporting Times. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
An unrivaled customer experience continues to be a cornerstone at Leachman Buick GMC. Leachman is Kentucky's #1 GMC dealer, and we invite you to discover why generations of customers choose Leachman Buick GMC.
Well, Joe, the 15th district, they are going to be in the mix this year in the 4th region. Obviously, they'll have 2 teams represented, but this might be the year.
They certainly hope so. I think they've got a few teams that could find themselves in the mix. I think, we're already seeing. I mean, Glasgow winning games already.
Yeah.
Monroe County kind of has come up and surprised some teams already.
Yeah.
Barron County's going to be in the hunt because they're just well coached. They won big against Greene County to start off the season. It's going to be a good district. It's going to be tough to play in.
It's going to be fantastic. And we want to thank everybody for joining us today. As we get closer to Christmas, we may have a special guest on this show. Maybe a little snow. Who knows, Joe? But it could happen. So we will see. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next Saturday. For Doug Thompson,
I'm Joe Brunk.
Have a great week.